G'day folks, Connor here from CW's Tech Reviews, back with another video, and today we're doing the review of the UltraMintt Y3 from Mintt Smartphones Australia. So without further ado, hit the like button and the subscribe button, and let's get stuck into the video. Let's go. Now just quickly, before we get started, make sure you hit the links down below if you do want to check out Mintt's website and see what phones they have on offer. I don't get anything for it, there's no kickbacks for me. The only thing I have been sent is by Mintt to review. Okay folks, so as usual, when I start doing a review, I just like to get the specs out of the way. Mintt is an Australian company that's brought a lineup of phones to the Australian smartphone market. Now, I've had some people say to me, well, these aren't Australian because they're not made in Australia. This is an Australian company and the phones are made overseas, but it's an Australian company. So I'm down with that. And we're gonna put it to the test. I mean, I've been comparing this to like the Oppo Reno Z, the Moto G7, because that's where it sits for the price. Looking at 400 Australian dollars, it's probably around 300 US for those of you that want to know the US amount. Specs, 6.3 inch display. It has a Helios P60 chipset in it, 4 gigs of RAM, 64 gigs of storage, a 24 megapixel wide angle front facing camera, and on the back you've got a 20 megapixel, 16 megapixel and 5 megapixel triple cameras. You've got a 4000 milliamp hour battery, rear fingerprint sensor, facial recognition, wireless charging on a $400 phone, and Android 9.0 with expected upgrades to Android 10 in the near future. So specs wise, we're looking pretty good from what I can see here. Now, specs aside, you might say, tell me more about this phone, what's it like in the real world, and that's what most people have been asking me. Now the UltraMintt Y3 is one of those phones that looks like it's worth a lot more than what you actually pay. You've got glass on the back and Gorilla Glass on the front. The color that I have is this amethyst. That's the color I've got, and it looks spectacular. Look at that, glaring off the light there in the color. It's just incredible how good it looks. It has a 6.3 inch display, but for me it is really comfortable to hold. It actually feels a bit thinner than some phones, and it is quite comfortable to hold. Pretty much, it is comfortable in the hand. It's got the teardrop camera cut out at the top, no bezels down the bottom and the side. So really nice built-in design. Now the two biggest questions I get asked when I review any phone is how's its performance and how's its camera. This is running the Helios P60 and 4 gigs of RAM. And for me, for day-to-day usage, it performs really well. I don't have any problems with it. It doesn't really stutter or stammer or have problems switching between apps. I mean, you can tell this thing doesn't have 12 gigs of RAM, but it's really not that slow. And as you can see here, gaming as well, it performed fine with medium settings in gaming. I played Asphalt 9, PUBG, Leo's Fortune, the usual games that I use when I'm reviewing a phone, and it had absolutely no problems playing those games on medium graphics settings. Scrolling, it doesn't stutter, it has no problem scrolling. I didn't have any times where I was thinking, wow, I wish I wasn't using this phone. It kept up with everything I asked it to do. And I had a very similar experience when it came to the software. We're running Android 9 and I've got the security patch for May 2019. So not the latest monthly security patch update, but it's pretty close and I'm expecting more updates to come through soon. I have had 2 software updates since I've had the phone as well, and that was improvements on the camera, and that's how I got the May security update as well. There is a few settings here within the phone that are unique to Mintt and their software, and I found those to be enjoyable little changes in the software. And with that, you've got a setting here that's called DuraSpeed, and that's switch it on to allow apps to run in the background. So you might do that if you had, say, an exercise app and you want it to run in the background while you're running and listening to music, you would flick it on. But look, I turned them all on and I had no problems with battery life either. So I think the software, although it is a fairly immature software version, it didn't really struggle with anything that I threw at it. It was good for battery, it was balanced for performance, and I was relatively happy with the software on this device. So some slight tweaks there in the software, but basically stock Android, really snappy, really fast, and I think everyone would be happy with the software on the UltraMintt Y3. We're going from performance to software and now to battery life. And one thing I want to say about the battery life of the UltraMintt Y3 was that I got through every day, no problems. I never had to stop and recharge the battery in a full day. I always got to the end of the day with at least 30 to 40% left in the battery, and I'm a pretty heavy phone user. Now, before I go to work in the morning, I would use exercise apps to do a 10K run. So I've got the GPS on, I've got music playing. Once I get back from my run, I would do some YouTube while I'm getting ready for work, and then I would hit the car and listen to podcasts and music for an hour on the way to work. Once I get to work, it'd be periodic use throughout the day of checking social media, emails, that sort of thing. Nothing too over the top. And then on the way home again, back onto the podcast or music, and then at home for the night, I'd probably watch Netflix, YouTube, a bit of Red Bull TV, and maybe a bit of light gaming as well. And I always got through with at least 30 to 40% on the days that I wasn't charging it. This is with Bluetooth on, GPS location tags on, 4G on, and when I'm at home, Wi-Fi on, and also when I'm out and about, Wi-Fi is always just left on as well. So I have everything maxed out, everything on, screen brightness up fairly high as well, and I certainly didn't have any issues with the battery life. Now, I do use Android Auto, so on the days where I was driving and had it plugged into Android Auto, I was going to bed with 60-70% because it's getting topped up along the way. So really good battery life here. I don't think you have any issues. And the Helios P60 really kept up with everything I threw at it. The battery is managed well, the performance is managed well. Now, the part you've all been waiting for, and I just know that this is it for most people. They want a good camera. You want to be able to pull your phone out of your pocket and take a photo with no issues, no lag on the shutter, just bang, take a photo, bang, take a photo. That's what you want from your smartphone. And you don't always get that. Now, I'm happy to say that this phone, when it comes to the camera, is just smashing it above phones like the Moto G7. Now, if this camera was equal to the Moto G7, it'd be a tough sort of choice. But it absolutely smashes the Moto G7 out of the water, and it's running at the same price. The camera's just like 2 or 3 times better. There's no shutter lag. It works really, really well. In saying that, most phones these days have a pretty snappy camera that perform decent photos. And I'd have to say that for the price, the UltraMintt Y3 is giving like above average photos for this price bracket. I really can't say you'd be too disappointed with this phone if you're buying it for the camera. And also the front facing camera is not that bad either. With some of the cameras these days for the front facing, they've got like 24, 32 megapixel cameras, and they're really not that well optimized. But I'd have to say that the camera on the UltraMintt Y3 gives out an okay photo, and it also has the beauty settings and all that as well. So you can play around with it, but it's certainly not a bad camera on the front or the back. Now, I would say probably one area where it could do a little bit better is in the video. You haven't got a lot of settings in video mode. It's pretty much just point and shoot for the video. But it still records an okay picture, and you wouldn't be disappointed with it, put it that way. Coupled with your still photos, you're getting a really good camera here for a really good price. I can definitely say this is up there with any other $400 to $600 phone, and I really don't think you're going to be disappointed at all. Now, a couple of things that I would like to see improved on. One is the auto brightness. There seems to be a bit of an issue there. If I have it on auto brightness, I don't seem to get the correct adjustments at the right time. That could be improved. The video quality could be improved, and not necessarily the quality, but more the features that you get in the video. So a little bit better slow motion video and a little bit more control over your video. That would be pretty cool as well. And the pros for the UltraMintt Y3 are the camera, the battery life, the software, and the price. There's 4 pros there that stand out above a lot of other phones in this price range, and it's definitely a contender. So if you're thinking Moto G7 or Oppo Reno Z or Huawei P30 Lite, then you've also got to consider the UltraMintt Y3 from Mintt. Links down below if you do want to check their website out. They have a lot more than just one phone. There's about 4 or 5 different models. I'm also reviewing the cool Mintt Y3 at the moment as well. So make sure you hit the subscribe button if you want to check that out as well. Thank you for watching the video. I really appreciate your time. Make sure you hit the like button and the subscribe button, and I will catch you in the next video. Checker.